Hi there, thanks so much for checking out this video. Today I'm going to be making some cyanotype prints, also known as solar prints or sun prints. So I'm going to give a quick rundown of the basic science stuff before getting into the process. And here are a few prints that I've made recently while I chat about that. So cyanotype is named thusly because they are blue, and cyan means blue. You can actually make different colours by using different chemicals, but blue is the most common colour. It's a photographic printing process that's created by mixing ferric ammonium citrate or oxide and potassium ferrocyanide. I have no idea if I pronounced that right. So you mix those together and they create a light sensitive solution that can be used to coat different surfaces. And when that's exposed to ultraviolet light, the solution develops and becomes a deep blue. And it only requires water to develop and fix it. It was developed in 1842 by John Herschel, and one of its most commonly known uses is to make blueprints, which are reproductions of technical drawings. I am using pre-made paper that comes in these black envelopes because it has to be protected from UV light. I got these ones on Etsy, so I'll link them down below, but you should be able to find someone that sells it in whatever country you're in. Just search cyanotype kit, or sun print kit, or solar printing kit. You can also buy them on Amazon too, I've seen them there. You can also make your own cyanotype solution by purchasing the chemicals and mixing it yourself. It will then enable you to paint it on different surfaces, or try it on different papers, fabric. I've seen it tried on wood as well. The problem with that is that you do need a dark room to do that, and I don't have access to somewhere like that at the moment, so that's why I have gone for the pre-made stuff. I have turned my bathroom into a dark room in the past by covering the windows with black plastic bags, but that can be a bit of a faff, and especially if you live with other people who need to use whatever room you're using, but it is an option. So onto the process, and I start off with a wooden board, and I put the paper on the board and then place whatever items I want on top of the paper. So these items will block the sunlight and create a negative image on the paper. So for example, I could put this pressed leaf on top, and then I would hold it in place with a piece of glass. You can use anything see-through that has a bit of weight to hold things down. You can also use a picture frame, remove the back, place your stuff inside, and then clip the back on again to hold it all tightly in place. Once your layout is done, it is then exposed to sunlight to let those UV rays do their magic. To stop the process and fix the image, I rinse the paper under running water for about a minute and then leave it to soak for at least 10 minutes in a bowl of cold water. And then finally just put it somewhere flat to dry. You don't have to use plants. This one I pressed between some books to make it really flat before using it. You can use fresh plants too, but if they're quite thick, they're unlikely to give a really sharp image because the sunlight can creep around the edges and get onto the paper. But that might look really nice, it's all about experimentation. You can also use things like feathers or doilies and lace. I've also seen people using cut glass to create really interesting effects. So I'm taking a sheet out of the envelope, making sure not to pull any others out so they don't get exposed to the light. Take note of the greenish yellowy colour that it starts off as. Then I'm just placing my item where I want it, which is known as a photogram. So that's a photographic image made without a camera. And then I just place the glass on top to hold it still. As soon as the paper is exposed to light, the process begins, so you want to work fairly quickly, but you do have a bit of time to arrange your items. I'm going to take it outside to expose the paper to sunlight, but you can also leave it in a window as long as there's plenty of light. Today is not really the best day to be doing it because it's quite an overcast day, but it's still quite bright, so it will work, but it will just take longer than if it was a sunny day. Exposure times do require a bit of experimentation to get right. I would say that if it was a sunny day, you probably want to try 5 to 10 minutes. A partially sunny day, 10 to 20. An overcast day, 20 to 30. And a really dull day could take 30 minutes to even over an hour. This part is not really an exact science, and it's also down to personal preference. It is a form of art, so there's no rules, and you can try overexposing or underexposing something and see what kind of effects you can create. While I'm waiting for that one, I collected some leaves from around the garden and I'm going to arrange them in the frame so that I can have two going at the same time. I do find with fresh leaves in a frame, you can sometimes get a bit of condensation on the glass, so watch out for that as it can obstruct the sunlight. Okay, so my first one is done, and you can see the colour has changed from the light bluish yellow-green to a dull, slightly bluish browny colour. And when I remove the leaf, the silhouette is left. So unless this is protected from the light, the reaction will continue and the shape will be lost. So I'm going to fix it immediately. And all that needs to be done to permanently fix the image is to run it under cold water. And I do that for about 1 minute, and you'll see the colour change from the dull brown to a Prussian blue. You can't see it very well on camera, but there is still a slight yellowish tinge to the white parts of the paper where the chemicals haven't been fully washed off under the tap, so it needs to soak in a bowl of water for at least 10 minutes to really get rid of it all. And then the only thing that's left to do is to put it somewhere flat to dry. And that is it! It is so easy to make these, and I really love the outcome. They look so cool and they're just so simple. Probably not the best thing to do if you don't like blue, but I love blue, and especially this Prussian blue. It's gorgeous, and they look great all on a wall, and put into scrapbooks and things like that. So I'm going to be using some in my next bullet journal, so check out my June video if you're interested in that. I'm just going to go through a few more that I've made, so I will speed up the video and you can just see the remaining process, and I'll add a few more comments in here and there where necessary. I wanted to test the cut glass and the lace, but I definitely overexposed it and you can't really see much of the pattern. So next time I try, I know not to leave it out so long. I think glass is the ideal thing to use for this, but if you don't have any, you can try using Perspex or a sheet of acetate. It's quite light and flimsy, so you'll need to stick it down. I just used some washi tape here so it was easily removable. It doesn't hold items really firmly to the paper because there's no weight to it, and you might not get a very defined shape because of that, but it could help stop the arrangement moving around. And here they all are. They're still a bit wet and will take a few hours to dry out, and they will probably curl up a bit too, so once they're dry, press them under a heavy book for a few days to flatten them out. I love how they turned out. I think my favourite one is the first one I did, and the fern leaf. As I mentioned, some of these will be used to decorate my next bullet journal, and the rest will go up on a wall somewhere. I really like sticking them up randomly like this, but they would also look great framed and maybe arranged similarly, or maybe a triptych would look good too. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and it makes you want to try out cyanotypes. Let me know in the comments if you've tried it before or if you want to try it in the future, and you can tag me on Instagram if you do try anything out because I'd love to see your experiments.